What is up, Deadly Saints Nation on YouTube? That's right, it's your rocker boy, yo King Saint. Firestar Hart here, baby. And, well, I don't think I intended on really recording this, but it has been such an interesting year that I thought I should do a recap video of what happened. So as you can see, I've made it to WrestleMania 22. By the way, this is SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on PS2. You might have seen a series that I was doing a few years back where I was doing a retro style GM mode for CRW on SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on the Xbox 360. But I decided, well, for one, capturing PS2 footage is kind of easy now, considering I got a nice working little laptop here that does what I need it to do pretty well for right now. And two, I originally actually played SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on PS2 before I switched over to the Xbox 360 version. So, hell, why not? Why not do the PS2 version? Still looks just about as good. The 360 does have the minor graphical buff, and maybe I'll bring it back eventually in a future episode. But anyway, I'm doing practically a simulation. The only time I really had to interfere with any of the booking, outside of like picking superstars or whatever, the only time I really had to interfere was when the shows needed money to sign people, because you gotta have money to run these shows. So, we're at WrestleMania right now, and we're going to simulate that bad boy at the end of this video. But we started all the way back at April of the previous year. And, well, I'm going to show you guys a recap right now. As you can see here, things are starting off normal enough. Got a little match on Velocity. By the way, these matches are booked balanced, which means the shows automatically book themselves and try to balance it the best they can. And as you can see, we have all the results here. It's going down. And so far, so normal. At least the main event scene is kind of normal. You know, Rey Mysterio, he's a main eventer. Things are looking interesting. Now, Randy Orton, John Cena, that's viable. Intercontinental Championship, goodness. Okay, well, Mickie James beating Big Show, that's, well, there's an abnormality for you. And you'll see how things start to quickly unravel, besides the intergender booking. Dark Angel gives her hellos, everybody. Don't mind the silence, by the way. We're just doing a recap, and yeah. Maybe I'll have somebody edit this. I don't know. But as you can see, so far, so normal. Well, here's your first abnormality. Well, no, wait, that's not an abnormality. Never mind. United States Championship. Tag Team Championship, Hardcore Holly and Carlito in a trade. So far, so good. Cruiserweight Championship, yes. Perfectly normal. Back to Raw. And here is your first your first big World Heavyweight title upset. Carlito becomes World Heavyweight Champion by defeating Batista. This happened in June. Now we're over to Raw. Main event scene still looking normal there. Then Batista wins the world title back from Carlito, so there you go. We got Melina in a handicap match with Triple H and Rob Van Dam. That's not normal. Then Batista beats Carlito again for the U.S. title this time. Pretty decent style main event. A little bit random on the booking. And Carlito and Hardcore Holly become tag team champions over the tangible pairing of JBL and Rey Mysterio. Summer was when things started really getting weird. The main event scene on Raw. Now Raw is completely normal, but SmackDown said we're just gonna put these mid-carders in with the main event talent and throw them into the main event. Gregory Helms and Carlito. Come on now. Raw still normal for the most part. You know, that's the main event. That's the main event match. Still. The Great Khali, unfortunately, was in the main event scene for the early years of his WWE career. SmackDown again. Batista. Okay, see, now things are a little bit back to normal on SmackDown now. But Gregory Helms defeats The Undertaker for the U.S. title. Is it a title that should be on a guy like Gregory Helms? Sure. But The Undertaker and the Hurricane, no. No. For those of you who don't know, Gregory Helms was a cruiserweight back in the day. One of Matt Hardy's close friends too, by the way, from North Carolina territory. And yeah, I don't know. I may or may not have put over a young, helped get a young and up and coming talent over in North Carolina once or twice before. Yeah, Batista versus Gregory Helms. And Gregory Helms getting a couple of main event slots. My bad, I went to Raw there. And Raw still very much normal on SummerSlam. You got your little mixes here. Batista and Rey Mysterio, yeah, that's a normal SmackDown deal. And over on Raw, things are still looking pretty normal. Batista, Carlito, and Paul Burchill. Paul Burchill starts to taste the main event scene around the end of August. Keep his name in mind, by the way, folks, as we continue to progress. As you can see, the second time in a row, to my knowledge of this starting to become a pattern here. And even super crazy. Okay, now Chavo being around main eventers, that's happened. Not Chavo, not necessarily a main event star, but he sniffed it via association. And over on Raw, you still got your normal thing. You still got your normal scene. Okay, so far so good. Still on SmackDown, so still normal. Yeah. Main event, a tag team match. Well, Rey Mysterio's a main event guy. Chavo had association with main event talents. Paul Burchill and Psychosis. This is a thing, people. This is how random SmackDown was getting. And it keeps going. Paul Burchill and Gregory Helms beat Batista and Chavo Guerrero in a SmackDown main event. Now we're in September, folks. We are in it. We are in it. And as you can tell, the roster starts to get a little bit more towards Skeleton Crew. Now, that Elimination Chamber match is pretty fire. As you can tell, the Skeleton Crew is starting to come in a little bit throughout the year. You know, fall and winter kind of slowed down a bit. This is when we had to really start running the money back. Me and Gat doing this stuff. And here you go. World Championship reign #1 on SmackDown. Paul Burchill defeats Batista. 4-star match in the parking lot brawl. This is when I started going, what the actual fuck? And absolutely hilarious. I'm over here messaging a couple of buddies of mine because they need CAW formulas for SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 on PS2, right? And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm over here starting to think to myself, what even is this game anymore? Somebody cued a whoop alarm because it's starting to go off in my head. And on Raw, they're playing it absolutely safe. And then you got the main event goes back to normal. All right, Skeleton Crew. Paul Burchill defeats the Great Khali in a submission match for the world title on SmackDown's No Mercy pay-per-view. Back on Raw now. Coming up with some bangers, people. Paul Burchill is carrying the Skeleton Crew era of SmackDown. He's defeating The Undertaker. He's defeating Batista. He's a giant slayer. Meanwhile, over on Raw, you got John Cena main event with the Intercontinental title. I'm just now looking back and seeing the good run he had. And the Great Khali and JBL, that's a random pairing if I ever did see one. Defeating another random pairing of Batista and Kid Cash. This is what SmackDown threw at us, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Gat was, he started laughing at me once he saw this. Hey, Paul Burchill's first world championship comes to an end. And then on Taboo Tuesday, 2 matches. Lita beats Rob Van Dam. I don't know how or why. And then the World Tag Team Championship, John Cena and Triple H. Because that's a pairing that's believable. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, yeah, classic rivalry. John Cena and Edge, another classic rivalry. Alright, Big Show and Kid Cash. Undertaker and Paul Burchill. See, Paul Burchill's now steadily in that main event scene. He is sniffing the hell out of his son. And look at that. The winning streak continues. Paul Burchill is an absolute beast. And it just occurred to me, I might have to look at his win-loss record before we click confirm on the WrestleMania card here. As you can see, got a main event match right there. Rob Van Dam defeats Lita. He gets his win back. Paul Burchill and Super Crazy become tag team champions. See? And now we enter December where we're trying to build money back. Skeleton Crew show. Everybody went home for December. Alright? Everybody went home. And so those who decide to stay out and work went out and put the work in. And this is what we ended up with. There, you see, DX went home, but Paul Burchill said, "You know what? I got this push. I'm gonna earn my keep," and he keeps going. And so we got the return of some mid-carders there. Undertaker and Psychosis for the United States Championship. Yeah, that's a feud. Over on Raw, things are perfectly fine still. Got a main event on SmackDown. Paul Burchill and Super Crazy defeat Psychosis and Kid Cash. That's a classic main event right there. Who ain't ever heard of that? Matt Hardy and John Cena. Imagine that tag team, huh? John Cena and Rob Van Dam. Yeah, solid main event. Logically speaking, anyway. Look at that, Paul Burchill in the main event again. He don't win, but he's there. As you can see here, we're in January right now, and some absolute. We've seen a couple of bangers. Paul Burchill is steady in that main event scene, y'all. And look at this. 3.5 stars with a match featuring Paul Burchill in a steel cage. 4.5 stars, Rob Van Dam and John Cena. There you go. And the Royal Rumble, 5 stars. But Ken Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, whatever you want to call him, Ken Anderson. He's the one who wins the Royal Rumble. Absolutely legendary, am I right? And Paul Burchill, they've been taking some time off, right? Now we're in February. The Raw main event scene has pretty much stayed normal. SmackDown has taken chances on guys like Paul Burchill and Super Crazy. And even at one point for like a cup of coffee, Carlito. As you can see now, Raw's bounced back. We got a full card on Raw. This is when we actually started doing a little bit of tinkering just to get a little bit more balance. And this is also when we actually started effectively building the money. And Paul Burchill gets another run with the world title. You know, I'm really starting to notice a pattern here. Paul Burchill has been an unsung hero of the SmackDown brand throughout this entire simulation. Ain't it so, Johnny? Ain't it so? That Johnny finally decides to join me here at the tail end of this video. We got Paul Burchill and Batista. See, this is absolutely ridiculous. Look, Undertaker becomes U.S. champion. How good, how cool. Shawn Michaels and Randy Orton. Okay, perfectly normal. United States Championship Taker retains. Main event of Raw on the Go Home show. Edge becomes Intercontinental Champion. And Paul Burchill defeats Batista and retains his world title. Alright. Now, the legend of Paul Burchill. The legend of Paul Burchill is this. His popularity is 92. And his win-loss record is 36 wins and 19 losses. This guy. Raw may be GM. Raw may win GM of the year. I may win GM of the year, but this whole mode, this whole simulation has been the legend of Paul Burchill, folks. And with that being said, let's go to WrestleMania and let's do this. Okay, we're gonna confirm the card. We got the card confirmed. So we're going to simulate. Alright. Simulate. And on the final heat before WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels and Edge defeat Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. Edge has turned clean, folks. Kane and Booker T. That might be a little bit random. I think there was only like one time Booker T got Kane to do a Kane-a-Rooney. Lita defeats Tori Wilson. Serviceable, perfectly serviceable. They went all out. Triple H defeats Rey Mysterio in a cross-branded match. John Cena defeats Super Crazy in another cross-interpromotional match. The Undertaker defeats Rob Van Dam in a parking lot brawl. And in your main event, the legend of Paul Burchill. Such a sad ending. You hate to see it. The guy You hate to see it. You kind of wish the underdog prevailed at this point. But Paul Burchill's second or third World Heavyweight Championship reign comes to an end at the hands of the animal, Batista. Hey, at least it's a proper main event guy according to the history. Well, that's true. But Paul Burchill was made for some fun moments during this simulation. And, oh man, Ken Kennedy could not capitalize off the Royal Rumble win Rey Mysterio, well, not Rey Mysterio, but Randy Orton. I don't know why I said Rey Mysterio. Are you sure you died? I'm not high, Gat. I assure you. Randy Orton defeats Ken Kennedy in the WrestleMania match. And that is the end of General Manager Mode Simulation. What happens now? Does it just load of it, or is there going to be a cutscene? Oh, there's a cutscene.
No chance! That's what you got!
Welcome everyone to the General Manager of the Year award ceremony. Here to present the award is Vince McMahon.
Oh, we got this cutscene is so important. I'm have to think around that.
I've been tracking you both all year, and as with any award, there can only be one winner. In this case, that also makes for one loser. And one thing I will not tolerate is a loser. Without further ado, I give you the General Manager of the Year. Congratulations on a job well done.
All right. General Manager mode has been completed.
You're still here? You must be waiting for me to fire you. No? Then get the hell out of my sight before I do fire you.
Teddy Long didn't have his tag team matches to fall back on, folks. There you go. That is SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 General Manager mode. My God. I would like to award Jim Raw trophy. This symbolizes as toting a special bonus in the upcoming draft. Welcome to the post-WrestleMania draft. You can take things up a few privileges. Raw will get a franchise tag. Second privilege goes to GM. Okay. This is actually my first time seeing that. Raw GM can designate one superstar as this in the upcoming post-WrestleMania draft. Alright. Well, there you go, folks. That is it. Before I get hit with the copyright strike, I am going to sign this off. So, be sure to hit that thumbs up if you liked it. Raw unedited. So, until next time, folks. Rock on. And peace out, folks.